Hey guys, Ms. Blatt here. So I am going to be changing the assignments a little bit. So last week we did not do the last two assignments. No big deal. We are not going to do those two assignments, and we're going to be changing the assignments for this week. We are still going to be adding and subtracting rational functions this week, just like was on the schedule. The difference is I want to do a different type of worksheet. But so I am going to load this worksheet, but before I do that, I want to give you some instructions on how to add and subtract rational functions. So I'm actually going to not write on this one, except for my answers. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to write on my plain paper. And before I write on my plain paper, I do the math problems, I want to give you an example. If I have 2 divided by triangle plus 3 divided by triangle circle. You know back from elementary school that in order to add or subtract fractions, I have to have the same denominator. I have to have a common denominator. And right now, I can see I have triangles in both denominators that are the same, but the second fraction, it has a circle. So in order to have a common denominator, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by the circle. Now, it doesn't matter if the triangle comes first or the circle, as long as I have a triangle in each, a circle in each. This is not the number 0, this is a circle. So, right now I have a common denominator. I have circle, triangle. I'm going to multiply my numerator. Circle times 2 is 2 circle plus 3. Now, if I could add or subtract these two, combine them, I would. Now, I don't like that I use circle. I'm actually going to change that to a square. Let me try. This is square. So now I have triangle square. So this was 2 times square plus 3. Now it's easier to see because, yeah, how circles were terrible. We'll go with squares and triangles. Okay, so what if I have 7 divided by triangle, square, triangle plus 2 divided by triangle, square. Okay, so this time, what am I missing? Well, when I looky, both of them have triangle, both of them have square. This second fraction is missing a triangle, but I can't just put it in the bottom. I've got to put it in the top and the bottom because triangle divided by triangle is 1, just like 5 divided by 5 is 1. And so I have to make it that 1. So now, both of my denominators have a triangle, square, triangle. In my numerator, the first fraction is just missing a 7. It just has the 7. The second fraction is 2 times triangle, which is 2 triangle. All right, so now enough with the little shapes. Let's do a problem. This is problem number 1 from the assignment. We have 7 divided by x minus 3 plus 4 divided by x squared minus 9. So that's my problem. Now, the difference between this and our examples is we're going to have to factor, because they're not just going to show me squares and triangles. My first denominator, x is to the first power, so all I could look for is a GCF, and it doesn't have a GCF. The second denominator, x is squared. So that means I can look for a GCF, and I don't have one, it's just the number 1, or I can try to factor it. X squared breaks down to x times x. 9 is on the right side, so by the right parentheses. 9 breaks down to 3 times 3. And what kind of signs do I multiply together to get a negative? It's a positive and a negative. So I no longer have that denominator, I have this. So if we go back and we start thinking about the squares and the triangles, I have an x minus 3, I'm going to make it a square, x minus 3. This is different, I don't have this there, so I'll call it my triangle. This is the part that's missing, so I need to do my triangle, triangle. So what do I have missing? I have an x plus 3 missing, an x plus 3 missing. So now, let's see. In our denominator, both of them have an x plus 3, and both of them have an x minus 3. And it doesn't matter which one comes first, as long as I have both of them there. Now, in my numerator, I have to multiply here. So 7 times x gives me 7x. 7 times 3 gives me 21. My second fraction, I have nothing to multiply, so I have plus 4. Now, if I can, I have to, next step, I'm going to combine terms. I have a 7x in the numerator. 21 plus 4 is 25. And it's all over that common denominator of x plus 3 times x minus 3. Okay, so let's write out the steps. Step 1, what did we do? Step 1 is we factor our denominator. Step 2, we find missing factors in the denominator. And we multiply the top and the bottom, the numerator and the denominator, by the missing factors. So multiply the top and the bottom. So now, step 3, we should have a common denominator. That's what I had over here. And I'm going to, we distribute in the numerator. So now I've got that common denominator, and I'm going to combine like terms. That's what I did from here to here. Okay, so on this problem, my answer was 7x plus 25 over x plus 3 times x minus 3. So what I want you to do is you're going to just write DCA for number 1. So if you want to do the bottom, I don't care. You don't have to. But I do want to do another example with you. So that was number 1. We're going to scoochie on and we're going to look at number 5. Number 5, we have 2 divided by m plus 3. And I'm going to add to that 9 divided by m squared. plus 8m plus 15. Okay, so we are ready to step 1, is we are going to factor our denominators. Okay, the first denominator, m plus 3, m is to the first power. All I can look for is a GCF. My GCF is 1, so I'm just going to keep it as m plus 3. My second denominator, we have a trinomial, m is squared, so we're looking for 2 sets of parentheses. M breaks down to m times m. 15, what can we multiply together to get 15 and add to get 8? That's 5 times 3. Since this first sign is positive, that means it goes with the bigger number. So my bigger number is going to be a plus. So if I have a plus 5, I'm going to need a plus 3 so that these two add together to give me that 8. So now, we have done step 1. We factored. Step 2. We're going to look for the missing term. We're going to find missing term. Okay, so I see both of them have an m plus 3, but this one has an m plus 5, and that first fraction does not. So we need to multiply the top and the bottom by whatever's missing. So multiply the top and the bottom by m plus 5. Alrighty, so now we have our common denominator. And I'm going to call it CD for common denominator. It is m plus 5 times m plus 3. And in my numerator, I'm going to distribute. So 2 times m is 2m. 2 times 5 is 10. So that's my first fraction. My second fraction, I have nothing to distribute. So here's my 9. All right, step 4. You get that common denominator? I just need you to combine like terms. So m plus 5 times m plus 3 in my denominator. And when we combine like terms, we get 2m plus 19. And now I'm going to check to see where my answer is. 2m plus 19, m plus 3, m plus 5. It is ERM. So next to under the 5, we can put the E or M at the bottom. And again, you don't have to do this bottom part. I don't care. So we have taken care of this one. Don't want to get it confused. And this one, I'm going to mark it out. Alrighty. So what if we do number 9 next? Number 9 looks like a big one. We have 2 divided by a minus 3 plus 7 divided by a squared plus a minus 12 plus 1 over a plus 4. Okay, I want to stop here, and I want you to try to do it on your own, and then we'll come back and make sure you got the right answer. Okay, so as you can tell, I was able to factor this middle term into a plus 4 times a minus 3. Then I'd look to see what was missing in the first denominator, and it was the a plus 4, so I multiplied the top numerator and the denominator by that a plus 4. In my third term over here, it was missing an a minus 3.